positive signals when it comes to protecting human rights. And does not send positive signals when it comes to protecting human rights. Our Constitution mandates us to protect the human rights of citizens in this country. And as the President, I'll lead that charge. As a result, we add our voice to calls on the government, police, and the judiciary to take steps to release the protesters immediately.
I actually don't know the steps that government took to try and turn the tide. I know only of the president putting his presidency online and calling in the military.
Did he lie to us?
Well, I know his conscience will be disturbing him now, okay? Because I think he underestimated the challenge. What we have in Ghana is despondency. People are losing hope in the future of the country. And so we have young men and women who are aware of the risk involved in illegal mining, yet they defy everything to put their lives at that risk.
FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3.
And we jump straight into our big conversation of the morning. Well, you had a few notable voices there. The first one was engineer Ken Ashigbe. He says it's shocking that everyone but the president is speaking about this Galamsey menace, and you'll be hearing him live on the show this morning. Ken is a convener, Media Coalition Against Galamsey. And then you also heard from the GJA president, Mr. Jumfo, whose speech at the just ended GJA Awards had a lot of you talking, especially on the socials. And final voice that you heard was Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, also sharing his thoughts on Galamsey. But I've got in studio with me this morning, Mr. Brownson Adachi. I had to take a deep breath for this one. Brownson, good to see you this morning. He's the convener, Free the Citizens demonstration. Good morning. Hope you're well.
Good morning. I'm fine.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. So it's hashtag Free the Citizens demonstration. Yesterday you met with the police. Give us a rundown on what happened.
Okay, so as the law demands that if we want to protest or demonstrate, we need to inform the police at least 5 days prior to the demonstration. So we did that, and they invited us for a meeting or engagement. And we went, we had that engagement yesterday, 10 a.m. And it was a fruitful one, a smooth and constructive one. The routes were agreed on. The number of days, which is 3rd to 5th, making it 3 days, was also agreed on. And the activities within these days were also agreed on. Yeah, so we had it smooth.
Well, what has driven the urgency behind this upcoming Free the Citizens demonstration?
Okay, so I want to state on record that this demonstration or protest is not just about voicing out our concerns. It's a desperate cry for survival. Illegal mining, or Galamsey, is not just illegal mining. It's a deliberate attempt to destroy our land, our water, and our future. And we cannot sit down unconcerned. It's as if we are sentencing ourselves to death. So as concerned citizens, we decided to come together to put our voices out here and cry for survival. Already, some group of the citizens took to the street to protest. against these same menace. And they were met with brute force from state authorities. And we are saying that, okay, we cannot let anything win this fight. We have to win as Ghanaians, because this is life-threatening. The water bodies or rivers that used to sustain communities have now been poisoned with mercury and other harmful or toxic chemicals, making them undrinkable and unsafe for farming communities or farming purposes, let me say that. It is not only the destruction of the environment, there is also the destruction of the very spirit of our democracy. That when young people took to the street to demonstrate, like I said before, they were met with brute force, arrested, denied access to food and water, denied their basic right to access their lawyers, detained, remanded, and denied bail. And all this we think are unconstitutional conducts. So we are going out there to demand action, not just to put our voices out there. So basically,
you're demanding action. You say it's not just about the talk. Which brings me to my next question. We've seen demonstrations come and demonstrations go with what some people might say is a seemingly minimal response, especially from duty bearers. Now, how confident are you that this protest, this 3rd to 5th protest, will pressure the government into taking concrete action against Galamsey?
Okay, great. So you see, the conversation around demonstrations in the country has been limited to petty politics. When anytime people want to put their voices out there, you are being tagged as maybe being powered by a certain opposition party or whatever it is. I think that is why most demonstrations have been met with the minimal responses and other things. But this one, we can all see all organizations, even religious bodies, the youth, the old, the aged, let me say that, media houses, the other CSOs are also on board, even UTAC, organized labor, media coalition, and everyone is talking about it. This tells us the severity of the devastation or the problems that we face. So we are positive that this particular one, where we are going to demand, because we will be petitioning the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we'll be petitioning Attorney General's office and Parliament as well. And
so this is a petition per day. Between the 3rd and 5th, so 3rd, 4th, 5th, you have your designated bodies that you are marching towards to present this petition.
Present petitions, yes. And on the 3rd day, we are going to have a vigil at the Independence Square, where we are going to either mount a giant screen or project the images of this destruction or the devastation. Okay, so many people think it's just the color of our water. When you go to social media, people are just posting just the change in color of the water, but it goes beyond that.
Right.
Yeah, so we need to project for the people who are coming to the protest ground to see the severity of the issue, so they don't limit it. So we know that we are all on board. They don't limit it to just the destruction of the water bodies, but the destruction of life as well. So we are positive because a lot of voices this time are on board. And I think we also use this opportunity to call on all organizations. This is not any particular group going to demonstrate. It is the citizens. Day in, day out, we've been taking oaths and pledging that we will be faithful and loyal to Ghana, our motherland. This is where we need to redeem these oaths.
So you say Ghana first?
Ghana first, beyond anything. People say we have interest. Yes, we have interest. And the interest is that, as I've always been saying, I want to wake up to a day where I can completely defend my country against any government and against anything. And that is where we are now.
So groupings such as UTAG and others, they have made their demands quite clear that a state of emergency be declared, for example, that all small-scale mining be halted and so on and so forth. What are these specific actions that you will be petitioning on? What do you want to see happening? What do you want government to do as a matter of urgency?
Okay, so I think a number of people, like you said, are asking for certain things.
Yes.
But we believe that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are mandated to protect and preserve our environment, our water bodies, the forest, and the minerals as well. And if these are their responsibilities, then they have failed in protecting the environment. So, one, we are petitioning them to make sure they take immediate action to halt all mining activities, small-scale mining activities in the country, and take actions to restore the damage that has been done to the environment. That is it. Now, Attorney General also supervises how the law is enforced, both by citizens and state authorities. So we are saying that if you sit down for our rights to be abused, then it means you're also failing in action, in responsibility or whatever you're doing. So they also have to take immediate action to stop the prosecution of our comrades or our brothers and sisters who took to the street to demonstrate.
And this is what birthed the hashtag Free the Citizen.
Yes.
I'll pause us here so that we can take a listen to a rap on this particular issue for the uninitiated, so that you can be caught up to speed on exactly what we are discussing. A hashtag Free the Citizens. Protesters who took to the street for a 3-day demonstration picked up by the police and are to reappear in courts, I believe, October 8th
and 11th.
8th and 11th, making that some 2 weeks in remand, or 2 weeks plus a few days in remand. So take a quick listen. We'll come back in studio and discuss this in some further detail. But do be sure also, as we have this conversation, to engage with us on the socials. You can find us on Facebook, where we're actually streaming, also on Instagram and on X. The hashtag is still 3FM Sunrise. Take a listen.
Due to health reasons, Oliver Bakavomawo was escorted to the circuit court, limping and frail. Fanny Otu was, however, unable to make it to the court. Oliver's lawyer, Dr. Justice Remsai, argued in court that the police had neglected his client and denied him prompt medical care until he collapsed while in custody. The state proffered 8 counts of offenses, including offensive conduct to the breach of peace and stealing, to which he pleaded not guilty. Another protester, Philistine Nelson, had a fatal scare after experiencing an asthmatic attack on Wednesday evening, while another slept on his knees for 2 days due to no space. In his bail application, Dr. Justice Remsai noted that the police's inability to provide adequate care and shelter should be considered in granting all the protesters bail. The lawyers also indicated that the protesters were not being fed, but the prosecution led by Nana Kusakusi opposed the bail application vehemently. She noted that the accused persons were fed with nutritious food from a reputable restaurant. Responding to access to adequate healthcare and space, the prosecution prayed for prison custody for the protesters so they could be appropriately catered for. She again indicated that some of the protesters refused to give their actual names, making it difficult for proper identification and fixed place of abode to be located. After considering their arguments, presiding judge Kwabna Obri-Abua remanded the protesters to police custody for 2 weeks and ordered the police to ensure they are adequately fed. Paralegal practitioner Martin Pebu expressed disappointment in the court's decision.
I'm extremely shocked that the learned trial judge remanded them. I'm shocked. This case doesn't require a remand. The police didn't make a good case for a remand. I see, you read Oko versus the Republic, the days of Tila J, you read the decision of Oko versus the Republic, they say, yes, the law is alive. In this particular case, what I'm witnessing for, I don't think a good case was made for a remand. As the judge himself accepted, quite a number of the offenses are misdemeanors.
Lawyer Elom Abebio, also known as Ama Governor, who was remanded on Wednesday, was mistakenly added to the protesters who were brought to court and was later escorted back to custody.
We'll come back in studio. Brownson is still with me here talking about the hashtag Free the Citizens demonstration slated for the 3rd to the 5th of October. So Brownson, you say this is also a demonstration to ask for the release of these protesters who took to the streets and were later on picked up by the police and remanded in custody for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we think that one of the reasons why we are even petitioning Parliament is that we think Parliament has to ensure that state authorities are acting within the remit of the Constitution. And then the unconstitutional treatment of these protesters are serious breach of democratic principles. And Parliament has to do something to make sure that this does not continue. Now, what should they do? They have to investigate into the issues and make sure that it doesn't repeat itself, or this kind of unconstitutional conduct by state authorities do not become a norm in the country.
Let me invite into this conversation Engineer Ken Ashigbe. He's the convener Media Coalition Against Galamsey, and he's connected with us on 3FM Sunrise. Ken, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, as somebody deeply involved in the anti-Galamsey fight, how do you feel now seeing more and more Ghanaian citizens, institutions, bodies, coalitions join in the fight or join in the calls to end Galamsey?
Well, thank you very much. So what has happened is that we have formed the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. So this coalition is made up of 10 blocks. So it's made up of the media, it's made up of labor, it's made up of professional bodies, it's made up of business, it's made up of the academia and the research institutions, it's made up of the youth groups, it's made up of religious bodies, it's made up of traditional bodies, it's made up of the civil society organizations and the pressure groups. So this is what we've come together to form the Ghana Coalition. We're happy that the media has been able to hold the fort all to this time. And we're grateful at this point that we have all of these partners. Over 50 organized groups have issued statements in support of the crisis of genocidal proportions that currently confront us as a people. And it is only when we take the advice of His Excellency the President, which he gave on the 7th of January, 2017, and act as citizens and not spectators, that we'll be able to get a resolution to this particular canker that confronts all of us. So it's really heartwarming that we have everybody supporting this fight, apart from the criminal minds who are involved in it and their collaborators who out of greed and corruption would want us to be poisoned and wiped away from the surface of the earth.
Now, what do you think has been the most significant challenge in dealing with Galamsey, despite past campaigns and promises?
Well, it is the issue of greed, avarice, and corruption, which is laden by politics. The fact that those we have given the power to be able to support this fight themselves are being involved in it. So when you have the Speaker of Parliament mention in the House of Parliament that some of the MPs are involved in this or are benefiting directly from that, that sums it up. And then the most important thing again is to look back into history and look at what the trends have been. In 2014, 2015, 2016, the NDC was fighting the illegality. They even had set up a committee which Honorable Mr. Fuseni was the minister in charge of.
That's right.
You realize at some point he was changed, and the fight was almost brought to a halt. But what you saw in there was that the current president, who was then the opposition leader, in Obwat, was on record saying that it's not true that what they are saying that when he was coming to fight the illegality was true. So it means at that point, because of partisanship and because of the election, the need for votes, he went against it, speaking against the fight against it.
So then it would appear that political actors are being two-faced. It's one thing to the public, but when they enter these communities, they're saying a different thing or singing a different tune.
Completely. Well, the point is that because we, the media, we've also not drawn the linkages too much. They do that. So 2016 was the current president who was in opposition was singing that. Then in 2020, the deputy communication executive for the NBC Kukuba was actually in the pit of an illegality. And he should have been arrested for that. Telling the people that on January 2021, when they've gone to vote for his presidential candidate, they can then come back into the pit. Very despicable, but that's what he did. Then comes, so you hear the MPP tell you that they lost a lot of seats in some of those areas. Then comes 2020. We had a parliamentary candidate of the MPP standing with the minister, the regional, Western Regional
That's
Minister,
right.
and saying that they were going to form a WhatsApp group with the regional minister, the MPP, and himself.
In fact, he even added that Operation Galam Stop, all of that has been halted, and if military come and foil or attempt to foil operations, they should match them essentially boot for boot.
Correct. So, though we all know that Operation Halt is still in operation. Operation Halt still does some operations. We know the police, the police, the immigration, they are all supposed to be responsible for stopping this. But he was there telling the people that if these security forces come, they should beat them up. And in the same 2020, we had His Excellency, the former president, talk about the fact that he would declare an amnesty for those who have been arrested, against the illegality. And then we've had an MPP, somebody who's supposed to be a doctor, a medical personnel who knows the impact of what heavy metals do to us, tell us that the turbidity of water just started getting bad a week ago, a month ago, and the fact that they are not going to stop the illegality today or tomorrow. We also have had the the running mate of the NDC.
That's
also
right.
confusing thing, because she talks about teaching people to do Galamsey well. I hear she's come to correct that it's about legal small-scale mining that he's talking about. But let's bear in mind, small-scale miners are Ghanaian small-scale miners who are mining very responsibly, who are reclaiming the land. They are completely different from those who are doing the illegality.
So we have to make that distinction clear, because it appears that now we're using small-scale mining and Galamsey interchangeably.
Please, and it is important that, those who have called, we put into place, do not create this confusion. And because small-scale mining is not Galamsey. Small-scale mining is done and act and science done by Ghanaians, some of whom are, if you go into the small-scale mining association, some of them, if you go into some of their mining concessions, and you look at places they have mined and reclaimed, you won't believe that those places have been mined. So that distinction, so it's unfortunate if anybody will try confusing that. So it is important for us, the media, to, when we are doing this engagement, we separate clearly what small-scale mining is and what the illegality is. Let me give you a typical example.
Sure.
Akonta Mining, who was named by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and then by the Minerals Commission of engaged in illegal mining in the Tanani Forest Reserve. It's not a small-scale miner. Then you have Heritage Imperial. Heritage Imperial was given a lead, to do prospecting. He had gone into some of these forest reserves and was engaged in an illegality. We had written to the EPA. The EPA had confirmed to us that they do not have a permit to mine. Heritage Imperial is not a small-scale mining firm. If you go into all the forest reserves, those people who are in the forest reserve, decimating our forest reserve, they are not small-scale miners. So it is very important that in all of this conversation, the legal small-scale miners who are Ghanaians, who are doing a good job, we separate them clearly. And we should not be hearing anybody talk about when we come, we'll teach you to do Galamsey well. It is akin to saying that when you come, we'll teach the armed robbers to start robbing in property.
Because, as you say, it's an illegality. You don't ban an illegality. It's an illegality. But, Engineer Ken, there are some demonstrations slated for the 3rd to the 5th of October. How does the Media Coalition Against Galamsey feed into this demonstration? Is there a partnership? Will we see a partnership? How does the coalition add itself to some of these activities that are upcoming?
Well, the Media Coalition has been at work since 2017,
That's right.
And so we have had a plan all this while. When we had our press conference where we invited our other partners of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, including Labour, one of the things that Labour had done, starting with GMA and UTAG, and then organized labor took it over, was the fact that we were giving the government up to the end of September.
That's right.
And post that, we're going to take actions. And the actions included all civil and democratic and legal instruments that we had available, namely strikes, demonstration, and others. And so today, organized labor has a meeting. And so we are hopeful that after that meeting, unless government, decide to declare a state of emergency before 1 p.m. today, then we would then have to be taking the next step. So
that is the deadline. By 1 p.m. today, you say if government doesn't declare a state of emergency, we'll see you tag other bodies, organized labor in general, taking some action, as we've been told over the last few weeks.
So there's a meeting. They're having a meeting at 1 p.m. today to engage their structure.
Okay.
To take the next step. So, organized labor has been very clear about this. When they even met the government committee, they mentioned it to them that we were told basically once that is done, it would activate the rest of the Ghana coalition against Galamsey.
Okay.
And also for GJA, on Friday we had an incident where the general meeting gave the power to the governing council to take decisions. So it's something that media would also collaborate with organized labor, with various groups. I know for certain there are some major religious bodies that are partners to the Ghana coalition against Galamsey that are also planning prayer protests. So not only are they themselves going to take action and get the president to act, but they're also going to call on God as well to take action. I know for a fact that the Prez moderator has asked that his church members also start wearing the red in signs of protest. If you go through the Catholic Church, you will find out that a lot of the priests, after the Catholic Bishops' Conference issued their statements, a lot of the priests themselves are also preaching and telling people about what we all need to do to save ourselves from this genocide that is confronting us. So I am pretty sure that we will take the advice of His Excellency the President, and from now on we would act as citizens and not spectators. And we would also follow the constitutional dictate that says that sovereignty resides with us, and let the president know that he only has the mandate on our behalf. He holds it in trust of our behalf. So as Commander-in-Chief, he needs to act. Not only that, we also are not going to allow any political party to take advantage of this crisis for their political fortunes. So we have written to His Excellency the Vice President, who is the presidential candidate of the NPP, and His Excellency the former President, who is the running mate of the NDC, to declare openly. And organized labor has even gone further and said that they have to sign a pact.
Right.
That openly declares them as in support of the, to quote the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the draconian measures that we need to save ourselves from this genocide. So that we will, as you said, we will not have any of these politicians have a two-face. They come into town and then they are telling all of us that fight Galamsey. They go into those places and they think that they want to get votes and then start screaming that we will not stop the Galamsey today or tomorrow. So we're going to do all of those things to ensure that leadership takes decisions to make sure that we resolve this crisis that confronts us.
Absolutely. And Engineer Ken, before I let you go and come back in studio with my guest Brownson, what can be done to sustain this energy and this vim against Galamsey? What should the media be doing to keep the steam on?
So as the president of the GGA said on Saturday night, that the media, we need to definitely push the hashtag. We need to do what 3FM is doing this morning and all media houses are doing. We need to keep the issues of Galamsey at the forefront. When it comes to the issues of Galamsey, we are not acting as devil's advocates. We are actually acting as Ghana's advocates. We have taken a position as media. We need to mobilize the whole of Ghanaians to realize one of the next things that we're going to be doing. It's also the issues of letting our citizens know the linkages between the harms of Galamsey and some of the things that are happening to them.
Right.
We are, because one of our partners is academia and the research bodies, we have ample evidence, pathological research that have been done that have direct linkages. We have situations where in some of these communities, the spontaneous abortion that is taking place. And if, when the tests are done on these fetuses, the level of heavy metals that are found in them. We have a situation of even some two students who got, they were involved in this galamsey. They are the people who are normally in the kitchen and they are burning the amalgam of the gold and the mercury. And so because of the high level of mercury that has gone into them, they have a condition, I cannot mention it, it was mentioned to me, but currently they cannot even hold the effect. And what happened was that when their blood samples were taken to be tested, the test was not even done in Ghana, it had to be done in South Africa. The high level of mercury that was found in their bodies. There are situations that children have born deformed. Some of them have 6 limbs. There are situations of very bad deformation. Now there's linkages even in the cement of some of these people who are in these places. So as media, we are asking to get some designers and some animators that can support us, so that we can work and put this thing in local language, do some infographics that we can share, so that the people on the ground themselves will notice that these things that they are doing, they actually are harming themselves, so that we can get the fight coming from beneath, the masses themselves revolting, and then those of us who will support with our actions in about the actions from above, supporting the president also acting, so that together with all the political parties, the NDC, the NPP, supporting His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, we fight this battle in such a way that the Galamseyers, and we should bear in mind, when people talk about 1 million people being involved in small-scale miners, it does not mean that they are the illegal people. Of course, we should separate the legal people from them. And let these people who are on our water bodies, these people who are on the surface of our water bodies, washing into our water bodies, or in the forests, know that we are all joined together at the hip, and we are going to fight them today. And no matter who wins, the person who will come on the 7th of January, that same day, will also continue the particular fight in making sure that this wins. So that's what we as media will have to do. We have to provide the cover, we have to explain the things, get people to draw the linkages properly.
Thank you so much. Engineer Ken Ashigbe, convener, Media Coalition Against Galamsey. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. And Aiko, for the work done, it's the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Well, let's take a listen quickly to UTAG. Well, you know that ultimatum to government has expired. Today is the 1st of October, so something should be brewing. Take a listen.
Members may be aware that we have thrown similar invitations to other political parties. They have not listened to us. Today we were supposed to have a dialogue with the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources on Galamsey. He didn't show up. He asked his the Director for Minerals Commission to be here. He also didn't show up. And then just at last minute, when I texted to find out from them, they both said they are out of the country and they are asking a rep from WA to come. And I said, I'm not the national president, but no. I don't need the national president to tell him no, but we are not entertaining that kind of disrespect. And so when I see people coming all the way from Accra and Cape Coast to come and honor our invitation and to address us in this manner, I mean, my heart goes out to them. But let us make this point, that, you see, whether we like it or not, there will be December 7 elections, and power will change hands. Whether it will change hands to those seeking to break in the 8, or it will change hands to Movement for Change, or it will change hands to NDC, definitely power will change hands. And for some of us, depending on how the elections go, we either remain in this country to continue to work, or we will leave. Now, whether we are gone or we are here, we want to see the same kind of respect you've shown us. Tomorrow, should you get the opportunity to be in power, we want you to show us the same kind of respect you've accorded us now that you are looking for political power.
Well, that was Professor Ransford Jampo speaking at the council meeting in WA, senior political science lecturer and leadership of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, expressing displeasure over government's failure to show up for a conversation on Galamsey. I'll bring the conversation back into the studio. Brownson Adachi, convener, Free the Citizens demonstration, still with me here. Well, Brownson, what do you make of what Engineer Ken had to say? Does that give you some encouragement that, as he says, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey is truly awake to the pressing issues of the day, especially as far as Galamsey is concerned? And in fact, he's revealing more about the medical reasons why we should all be alert and be awake.
Yeah, I think all of us are happy when we realize that all these organizations are on board. Why? Because it's seeming as if now it is not just a political fight like people used to think, that the moment you want to voice out something or your concerns, you are being tagged as coming from one particular party or the other. But then this is giving me assurance or hope that it's now a national fight, a national war against Galamsey. And with all they are doing now, we are very happy, even though we will be hitting the street maybe earlier than they will do. And then we are also looking forward to engaging them to show solidarity for our demonstration on the 3rd and 5th, to either send a voice across or to support us or to join us, because it's a collective fight. And we have just gone ahead of them because we are seeing that if we sleep over these issues, how can we sleep when a few greedy people are stealing our future, the future of our children, the future of our grandchildren? How can we sleep? We can't. So I'm very happy, and I think hope is being restored in some of us that all other organizations and all other institutions and citizens are really on board for this fight. We are all not being spectators this time.
Now, just take us back. I know we talked about the meeting that you had with the police as far as these protests are concerned, or the demonstrations are concerned. The issue of safety, how was that addressed in the meeting? Because in the past, we've seen that has become quite topical. Some fracas here and there, incidents of paraphernalia burning and all these blockages and all of that. Did that come up, and how was that addressed?
Yeah, I think it came up. But then we did a lot of research into organizing this particular demonstration or protest. Issues of crowd management and other activities came up in the meeting. But then with the research we did and giving history, touching some histories of past demonstrations that has been organized in the country, we were able to have a clean conversation about how we are going to manage crowds and take charge of the protest. I think we are working to get internal marshals who are going to marshal the crowd and work hand in hand with the police to make sure that, in as much as we want to put our voices out there, we don't destroy the peace that we are already enjoying in the country, and then we don't cause harms and break the law that we are fighting for. We are fighting for justice. We don't end up breaking laws again. So we've done a lot of research, and then how we can take charge of the demonstration as organizers and make sure we manage the crowd well too, not to flout rules and regulations.
Certainly, and that's important for the peace of the entire citizenry. Well, Brownson Ataji, did I get that right? Adachi. Hey. Brownson has been here with me in the studio. Thank you so much for lending us your time and for setting out the issues very clearly for us to follow along. Brownson is the convener of Free the Citizens demonstration. It's slated for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th of October, with petitions going out to the relevant stakeholders, those that we have given the mandate to ensure that we all stay safe. Brownson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
I took the decision that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put on me